our final show in terms of grading. Sad, but it's our final one. It's Scandal. And our grade is A-.
A-.
Yay! We did 2 out of 3 the same for her dramas.
But again, they're not going to be for the same reasons because we have very different brains.
This is very true, guys.
So I will say that I gave it an A- because I think that it does what it does very well.
Yes.
Like it does the constant pushing the plot along. It does the rapid fire banter. It does the crazy, you think it's one thing, but then it's this other, I don't want to use the word twist, but basically is sometimes I don't feel that it is. But whatever, it does a lot of things that a lot of other shows can't do. But I also think that it is a rare show that you should want it to do something like that. Like, I don't think you should want every show to try to do what Scandal does because it is really crazy and it is really over the top and there's a time and a place for that, and somehow Shonda Rhimes has tapped into it and she's making it work. But the reason I think she's making all the craziness work is because she does take moments where she dials it back and just has these really great scenes between characters. They're fast-paced and sometimes they don't say a whole lot to each other, but they're really emotional and they're really strong when she does them. Yeah. So, like, one of my favorite scenes this season was the bunker when they were trying to figure out, you know, Mellie, Fitz, and Olivia trying to plan how they're going to deal with the rumors. So great. Just because the fact that you get those three together and now they're working towards a common goal is not something you expected them to see in present day.
And also, you say in present day is what makes it interesting because we've seen them in the past.
Right. And because the relationship
with the knowledge of everything.
Right. But also just like the stuff with James and Cyrus and like the way that that relationship is crazy and you shouldn't root for it because they should not be together. But the moments where you actually see Cyrus be vulnerable and like he knows what he did, he knows he's a horrible person, but yet he still wants to believe that he's worthy of love anyway. Like those, I hate to call them quieter moments because they're always yelling when they're doing them, so they're not super quiet. But those to me are just as good, if not better, as those crazy twists. Like oh, it's not her dad, it's her mom who's the real bad guy, and oh my god, Huck is torturing Quinn, and like those things are crazy for other reasons.
To watch.
But it's supposed to be.
I know it. That's why it was amazing.
And like, then when you see that like he didn't really do everything you thought he did, like it still all works.
Right. No, I mean it's an interesting situation because we've talked about at length how complex the Fitz and Olivia relationship is and how it's, in many ways the show is telling us these two should not be together. But
this show, I feel like the show tells us that about everybody. Like nobody is good enough for anybody on that show.
No. I mean, it's kind of atrocious in that sense. But, I was thinking about that show a lot this year, and it's funny because it's one of the few shows that I feel like people who are like not even avid television viewers talk to me about. Like
because you have to, like,
because they're like,
you have to be aware.
Do you watch Scandal? Have you watched Scandal? Oh my god, can you believe Olivia's mom was gnawing off her wrist? Like, there's so much that you just want to talk about, and I think I've always appreciated the show, but I feel like I've kind of gotten an even greater appreciation for it this season because we've seen how ABC, gonna be me and I apologize, is trying to make Nashville into Scandal in some ways because they're trying to they want to up the drama and the twists and the turns and this and that, and it's
if you look at it, like Nashville on paper is the soap opera that you would have expected to have the crazy twist, and as we saw from the finale both last season and this mid-season, this fall finale, they do that. Right. But the thing that I like about Scandal is that they don't treat it like, okay, benchmark episodes have these. Like, and I just do it so that we blow apart expectations. Right.
And Scandal executes it so well that it feels like it feels like you were saying, plausible. It feels like this is just the insanity that's happening in their lives versus manufactured drama. So I've kind of appreciated the show and how good it is even more after seeing how not well it's worked on other shows. Yes. Because I don't feel
But that's what I was saying. Like, not everybody should do that. Like, and I wouldn't want to watch a 1 hour of that every night. No. You know what I mean? Like, some shows, I like quiet television. Like, some shows, it's better when you can actually, like, sit with a character and, like, linger on what they're thinking and, you know, be a little bit more methodical about your shot choices. And if you look at the majority of TV that I like, Scandal is the exception with that crazy, like, insane twist. And because it is almost surrealistic to my world, but it feels real for their universe.
Right. And I've really liked the insight the season has brought. Like, I loved the Melly episode. I know that it was really controversial.
Well,
and I don't, for me as...
I think it was the reaction to it was what was controversial. I thought they did a really great job with, like, the actual episode itself and seeing just how far she goes for people and how much she's willing to not talk about or to cover up.
I think, to me, it didn't feel like pandering to make people like Melly, because quite frankly, I've liked Melly for years.
That's the thing, like, I like Melly too, but I feel like to watch that episode as a woman and to see that she shut up, like, I feel like that's the episode you started to hate Melly. How could, like, you can walk into a relationship and make the choice to, when your husband's the president, to look the other way because it's better for his business. And I don't agree with that, but I see where you're coming from.
Right.
But this was well before that, and it's something done to you that took away your whatever you freedom and choices and however you want to talk about it, and you don't say anything.
Right.
And you...
See, but
I don't know. Like, I kind of started to... I don't know if I hated her, but I kind of started to be like, wow, Melly is really maybe even more fucked up than I realized she was. I mean, and it makes me sad for her.
Yeah, I mean, I think it made me very sad for her. It made me very... You know, it was an interesting thing where I looked online after, because I wasn't around when it actually aired, and I was kind of surprised at the backlash, because I know people are fanatical about Fitz and Olivia, and I know that, and people hate her because of that. But, so I was a little disappointed to see so much, oh my god,
well, people I think because they expected, I think a lot of people came out of it saying, like, that was the moment you should have felt sympathy for her. Because of what happened to her. Well, but I think that's kind of short-sighted. Because it's she didn't let it happen, but she controlled what happened after.
And for me, it didn't feel like the show or anyone involved was saying that you should feel sympathy for her. It just felt like it was
no. That's what I'm saying. It's the reaction.
No,
a lot of the audience felt that they felt or they believed or they wanted to believe or whatever that's what the show was telling them.
Right, which is, I mean, that kind of disappointed me as a viewer to see that reaction afterwards, because, like, that was not at all what I grabbed from that episode.
Right.
I felt more sad that, like, you know, this is what Melly is giving up, and it's a horrific crime to cover up, to stay silent about.
Right. And it's all for this, so that this other man can rise to a power, and you're going to stay in the background anyway.